Hi, this is Chris from Nightfall Audiobooks. Today I have for you Night Games by R.L. Stine from the Fear Street series. This was a request, you know who you are. I love it when you guys give me ideas on what to do next. When I get a request, and it's in the middle of me recording something, like it always is, I put it on a separate list, and then as I finish my projects, I reference that list and go, okay, what on here strikes my fancy this time? I sat down to record what Holly heard today. It didn't click, it didn't do something for me. So I went back to my list and said, well, what else is on here? And I saw Night Games, and I read the first couple of pages and said, okay, it's going to be Night Games now. That's why requests are so important, because they help me drive my decision-making when I'm trying to figure out what to do next. I have not read Night Games before. I don't know anything at all about it. I don't know what to expect. I know it should be pretty short to read, and we will see how this goes. I'm looking forward to it. I love R.L. Stine. He's my favorite author, next to Christopher Pike, next to Mark Anthony, next to Patricia C. Reed. So let's begin. What should I read next? I don't know. Send me an email, nightfallaudiobooks@gmail.com. I'm at home right here on YouTube at Nightfall Audiobooks. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the join button to show your support. Any help is greatly appreciated. I really, truly do mean that. I also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/nightfallaudiobooks. So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell whoever you think would like to listen to me, tell them tales from R.L. Stine. Thank you very much for listening, and let's begin. Welcome to a Nightfall Audiobooks production of Night Games by R.L. Stine, a Fear Street novel, Book 40. Chapter 1. Whoa! I stopped and grabbed Lenny Boyle's arm. Check it out! I had to shield my eyes against the harsh, bright lights. Lenny laughed and pretended to stagger off the sidewalk. Cassie Weiland and Jordan Towns were half a block back, arguing again. They had been fighting all night, even while they were dancing. Sometimes I wonder why Cassie and Jordan go together. They're always breaking up, then making up, then breaking up again. Hello, I called, trying to get their attention. Take a break, guys. You've got to see this. They stopped and gawked at the amazing sight. Even Cassie had to laugh. It's hard to get Cassie to laugh. She's a great friend, but she really doesn't have much of a sense of humor. In fact, she's the most serious person in our crowd. Always study, study, study. It was great seeing her lighten up and dance at Red Heat tonight. Her copper-colored hair was flying. Her hazel eyes reflected the flashing lights. If only she and Jordan didn't fight all the time. He's so good-looking, and he knows it. And he's always coming on to other girls. I think that's what starts most of their fights. I don't know for sure. Cassie and I are good friends, but Cassie sort of keeps herself tightly wrapped up. She doesn't reveal what she's really thinking, not even to me. But now, walking home from the dance club, we were all thinking the same thing. How could Mr. Crowell do this to his front yard? All four of us stopped and stared at the brightest, ugliest, craziest, tackiest display of Christmas lights we'd ever seen. Red and green lights blazed from the roof, around the windows and doors, along the gutters, and in all the trees. Mr. Crowell had two Santas facing each other in identical glowing sleighs. Reindeer with flashing red noses, elves, gremlins, Santa's helpers, bright purple mice, bright white snowmen, neon animals I didn't even recognize, and twinkling, flashing, glowing lights everywhere. It's brighter than a dance club, Jordan declared, shaking his head. His dark eyes twinkled too, reflecting the red glare of the lights. He'll need a calculator to add up his electric bill, I chimed in. Everyone laughed. You see, Mr. Crowell's our math teacher, and he doesn't allow us to bring calculators to class. Lenny scowled. We should smash them, he muttered. Mr. Crowell is not Lenny's favorite teacher. In fact, Mr. Crowell isn't anyone's favorite teacher. Every school has at least one teacher that everyone hates. At Shadyside High, Mr. Crowell wins that prize. I'm so easygoing and sensible. I get along well with all my teachers, all except Mr. Crowell. Diane Brown, please complete this equation to the 5th decimal. I can hear his high, shrill voice. It always gives me chills, like chalk scraping on a blackboard. I snuggled against Lenny. We were both glowing from the lights of the front yard. The tiny stud in Lenny's ear sparkled like a star. I kissed his cheek. Poor Lenny. Mr. Crowell was toughest on him. All the teachers were tough on Lenny. I guess it's because Lenny doesn't care much about school, because he doesn't play the game, because he's kind of tough-looking. Why do I go out with a guy like Lenny, a quiet, sensible girl like me? Because I know him well enough to get past his surface cool, because I know he's a really good guy underneath. He acts tough, but he's really a marshmallow. Actually, I'm surprised that Lenny wants to go with me. I'm not as pretty as a lot of girls. I'm not as pretty as Cassie, for example. My blonde hair is kind of scraggly, and my nose is a little crooked, and I can't afford really neat clothes. But Lenny and I have a good time together when he's not in one of his angry moods. Those times when he gets low, there isn't much I can do. Just wait for him to come out of it. I can't believe that a total grump like Crowell has so much Christmas spirit, Cassie exclaimed. Did you ever see anything so ugly? Jordan demanded, grinning. I love it. I want to do this in my front yard. I keep it going all year. I laughed. Cassie shook her head disapprovingly. You have no taste, she said softly. I know, Jordan shot back. That's why I go out with you. Cassie shoved him into a hedge. No, I'm serious, Jordan grinned. Mr. Crowell should win an award for this. He should be arrested, Lenny muttered bitterly. Jordan laughed. Excuse me? Arrested? For what? Lenny shrugged. I don't know. Littering, maybe? We all laughed. I'm serious, Lenny insisted. I really think we should get my dad's Jeep, come back here, and drive it back and forth over all these stupid lights and Santas and reindeer. You know, crunch them all to bits. Whoa, I murmured. I took Lenny's arm. Take it easy, I whispered. We all hate the guy, but... Not as much as me, Lenny cried. Hey, we all have Crowell stories, Cassie chimed in. Remember the time I lost my math notebook and he dropped my grade a whole letter? And then I found the notebook at the bottom of my locker? I brought it in to show him, and he still wouldn't change my grade. Cassie tossed back her coppery hair. Remember that? And I'm his best student. Remember when I got caught passing that note to you? I asked Lenny. It was sort of a mushy love note, and Mr. Crowell grabbed it and called me up in front of everyone and made me read it out loud. Just thinking about it made my face go hot. That was the most embarrassing day of my life, I declared. I wanted to murder Mr. Crowell. Me too, Lenny muttered. Jordan tugged Cassie toward the street. Let's get out of here. I'm getting a sunburn from all these lights. Lenny and I followed them across the street, then down the block. It took a while for my eyes to adjust to the darkness. None of the other houses was decorated. A strong, cold breeze fluttered my hair. I pulled my down jacket tighter and snuggled against Lenny as we walked. What time is it? I yawned. Not too late. A little after midnight, he replied. Up ahead of us, Cassie and Jordan were arguing again. I'm really tired, I sighed. I worked all afternoon at the mall. Then it was so hot in the dance club. That was fun, Lenny said, kicking a soda can across the street. It felt good to kind of let go and just dance, you know? I nodded. Yes, it did. I snickered. Jordan thinks he's such a great dancer, I whispered. But he works too hard at it, don't you think? He tries to be so cool, but... I stopped with a sharp gasp. I saw something, a shadow, something moving on the side of a house. Lenny, look! I grabbed his arm. He saw it too, a dark figure climbing out of an upstairs window. He probably robbed the place, I sputtered. All four of us stared at the figure as he jumped to the ground. Quick, let's get out of here, Cassie whispered. Too late. The burglar climbed quickly to his feet, spun around, and saw us. Chapter 2. Why didn't we run? I'm not sure. My heart was pounding and my legs suddenly felt so rubbery. I'm not sure I could have run. Hey! A hoarse cry escaped my throat as the figure ran toward us. He was dressed entirely in black, a black sweatshirt pulled down over black jeans. He had a black baseball cap pulled down low over his forehead, blocking his face from view. Cassie shrank back beside me, her hands knotted in her coppery hair. Lenny and Jordan stepped forward as if protecting us, but I could see the fear on their faces too. And then their expressions changed. Lenny slapped the dark figure a high five. Jordan cried out happily. Hey, Spencer! Huh? I choked out. I squinted into the pale light of a street lamp, and recognized Spencer Jarvis's surprised face. What are you doing here? He demanded. What are you doing here? I shot back. He turned his gaze on me and smiled. Hey, Diane, what's up? I haven't seen you in almost a year, I cried. I rushed forward and hugged him. He took off his baseball cap and returned the hug. His cheek felt burning hot against mine. Spencer and I had been really good friends, until I started going with Lenny. Hey, Spencer, what's up with you? Lenny stepped between us. He pointed to the house. Why were you climbing out that window? Wow, Jordan muttered. Did you just rob that house? Spencer's grin grew wider, and he nodded. Yeah, that's why you guys haven't seen me in school. I spend all my time robbing houses now. I swallowed hard. Spencer had always been such a good guy. I'm rich, Spencer boasted. I'm the best house burglar in Shadyside. In and out in a flash. He winked at me. Never been caught. Never will be. But, Spencer, Cassie gasped. Spencer burst out laughing. I'm putting you on. Huh? Cassie and I both cried. Just joking, Spencer said. You guys are still stupid, I see. Yeah, we're still stupid, Lenny agreed. He shook his head. I never could tell when you were joking. You're not a burglar? Jordan chimed in. Spencer shook his head. No way, he pointed. That's my house. That's where we live now. Lenny eyed him suspiciously. You were climbing out of the bedroom window of your own house? Spencer nodded. Yeah. How come? I asked. Why don't you use a door like most humans? I'm not human. I'm an android, Spencer replied. It was never easy to get a straight answer from him. Sometimes it used to drive me crazy. I was sneaking out, he added. Sometimes I like to sneak out after midnight. He grinned. You know, have some adventures. I call them night games. Games? I asked. Don't your parents wonder? Cassie started. Cassie was terrified of her parents. I couldn't imagine her ever daring to sneak out of the house. What my parents don't know won't hurt them, Spencer sneered. I studied his face. He changed a lot in 1 year. He had let his white blonde hair grow long, down to his shoulders and parted in the middle. His face had thinned, and he had a stubble of blonde beard. Spencer had always been a little chubby. Now he looked muscular, athletic. I saw that his black sweatshirt was inside out. Same old Spencer, I thought. He was always more than a little weird. What happened to you last year? I asked him. I called your house 1,000,000 times. Then the phone company said the line had been disconnected. He narrowed his pale eyes at me. Didn't you get my letter? I shook my head. No, I never got it. I glimpsed a frown on Lenny's face. He never understood that Spencer and I were just friends. I think Lenny has always been a little jealous of Spencer. I sent it to explain why I left in such a hurry, Spencer continued. Why I left without saying goodbye to anyone. Why? Cassie asked. Well, you remember that my dad's store closed, Spencer replied. A few weeks after that, my grandmother in Washington got really sick. Well, she needed someone to take care of her after her operation, so my dad decided to move us all to Washington. It was like a sudden thing. I remember your grandmother, I told Spencer. Is she okay? He nodded. Yeah, pretty good. That's why we came back to Shadyside. My dad thought it would be easier to find work here. His silver gray eyes locked on mine. It's great to be home again. I missed you guys. Why haven't we seen you in school? Jordan asked, pushing back his wavy black hair. My parents sent me to St. Anne's, Spencer replied, lowering his eyes. Well, public school isn't good enough for you anymore, huh? Lenny demanded. He meant it as a joke, but it didn't come out that way. I really did miss you guys, Spencer repeated. Why don't you come along with me? Come with you where? Cassie asked suspiciously. Spencer grinned. His eyes lit up. For an adventure, a night game. What kind of adventure? Lenny sneered. You hunt for squirrels and bunny rabbits? Jordan laughed. Yeah, what could be so thrilling in Shadyside? Why don't you come find out? Spencer challenged. I turned to Cassie. She took a step back. Her arms were crossed in front of her parka, as if to protect herself. Cassie is not the adventurous type. Neither am I. Besides, I was really tired from working all day and dancing all night, but I didn't want Spencer to think I'm a wimp. What kind of adventure? Lenny insisted. You don't do anything stupid, do you? Cassie asked. A gust of wind fluttered her hair. She shivered. I mean, you don't do anything illegal? Spencer's grin widened. I have adventures, he replied softly. Some nights it's hard to sleep. My head feels so crowded. So I sneak out for some night games. Quiet little adventures. In the dark. He turned, putting on his cap. Shoved his big hands into his jeans pockets. You coming? I nodded to Cassie. She shrugged. Lenny and Jordan were already following Spencer. Yeah, I guess we're coming along, I said softly. We followed Spencer down the dark street. We didn't know it, but the night games had already begun for us, and so had the terror. Chapter 3. We followed Spencer down the street. The houses were all dark. Street lamps made our shadows stretch eerily in front of us. Cassie clung to Jordan as we walked. Lenny bobbed his head in rhythm as if listening to silent music. Our shoes crunched over newly fallen leaves. None of us spoke. As we followed Spencer around the corner, I wondered if he knew where he was going, or if he was just wandering. What was he searching for? He stopped suddenly, holding up both hands to signal for us to stop too. Lenny and I stepped up beside him, and I saw where Spencer was staring, at a white Taurus, parked at the bottom of a driveway. The windows were fogged, but the glare of a streetlight showed us the silhouettes of two people in the front seat, a couple, making out. I saw a gleeful flash in Spencer's eyes. He raised a finger to his lips, motioning for us to be silent. He pulled a flashlight from his back pocket. and tiptoed rapidly up to the car. "What on earth?" Cassie whispered. Lenny and Jordan were both grinning. We followed Spencer. My heart started to thud. Spencer stood over the car, too close for the boy and girl inside to see his face. Without warning, he pounded loudly on the driver's window. He pounded so hard the car rocked from side to side. "You're under arrest," he bellowed. Spencer has a deep voice. He sounded very convincing, even to me. We heard gasps and startled cries from inside the car. I saw the boy and girl pull apart. Spencer aimed the flashlight into the window, flooding the car with light. "Hey," the boy inside cried. "Come out with your hands raised," Spencer ordered. "What did we do? What did we do?" the girl shrieked. "Officer, we were just leaving," the boy called out in a trembling voice. "But I don't get it," I heard the girl cry. "What did we do?" "I'll think of something," Spencer boomed. The car door swung open, pushing Spencer back. A boy with spiky black hair started from the car. Spencer shone the light in the boy's eyes. "Hey, you creep," the boy protested. Spencer placed the flashlight under his own chin. He twisted his face into a grimace and let out a long, evil laugh. "You're dead meat," the boy shouted furiously. Spencer's evil grin grew wider. His eyes flashed excitedly. "Let's go," he called to us. Spencer spun around and started to run. His black cat flew off, but he didn't stop to pick it up. I felt frozen to the spot. I wanted to get away from there, but I couldn't get my legs to cooperate. Lenny grabbed my hand and tugged me off the grass, and before I realized it, we were running. All 5 of us, running through the night, our hair flying, our shoes thudding heavily on the leaf-strewn pavement. I glanced back and saw the boy and girl standing outside their car. The boy was shouting and shaking his fist at us, but he didn't chase after us. Lenny and Jordan congratulated Spencer as we ran. They slapped each other high fives and celebrated as if they won some kind of victory. Spencer tossed back his head and let out a long hyena wail. Cassie and I glanced at each other as if to say, "What's the big deal? I mean, all we did was terrify a boy and girl for a few seconds." We didn't stop running until we reached Spencer's front yard. Then we all stopped to catch our breath. Spencer let out another animal howl. Lenny and Jordan laughed. "Let's meet again," Spencer said breathlessly. He tugged back his white blonde hair with both hands. His chest heaved up and down. His eyes darted from one of us to another. "Okay, how about it?" he demanded. "Monday after midnight. We'll all sneak out and have more adventures." "I don't think so," Cassie started. But Lenny and Jordan eagerly agreed. I didn't know what to say. I didn't really understand why they thought it was so much fun. And something about Spencer's howls and the wild look in his face really worried me. Why does he seem so excited, I wondered. Why did he enjoy scaring that couple so much? Chapter 4. On Monday, we all sat in Mr. Crowell's math class. He stood at the chalkboard, scratching away at an algebra equation. Somehow, the formula was supposed to measure the height of the school's flagpole. I yawned. Mr. Crowell must be the most boring person on earth. The radiator by the window rattled. It was so hot. Everyone seemed ready for a nap. Cassie sketched in her lab notebook. Her movements were slow like Mr. Crowell's words. I stared at a dark stain on the hem of my white sweater. I couldn't remember where it came from. In front of me, Lenny and Jordan whispered to each other. That's when the trouble started. Lenny snickered at something Jordan said. Mr. Crowell spun from the board so quickly that the chalk flew out of his hand. It smashed into the window and cracked in half. Everybody jumped in surprise. "Did that get your attention?" Mr. Crowell snarled at Lenny. I watched Lenny's expression change. His smile faded quickly. Anger flashed in his dark brown eyes. "Tell me, Lenny," Mr. Crowell said, "what was so funny? Did you find the equation humorous?" Lenny snorted. "It's a riot." I shut my eyes. "Please, Lenny," I thought, "just be quiet. Don't say anything. Don't get angry and get yourself in trouble again." "Is it a riot?" Mr. Crowell demanded. "Which part?" The class fell silent. I shut my eyes tighter and crossed my fingers. Lenny remained silent. "I think you don't know which part is so funny," Mr. Crowell challenged. "I think you have no idea what's going on in this class." Someone snickered. I opened my eyes in time to see Lenny's sneer. "Nothing to say," Mr. Crowell challenged. The back of Lenny's neck turned red. He stared hard at the teacher. I saw the muscles in his right cheek twitch. I sank down in my seat. Mr. Crowell never knew when to stop, and he always knew how to push Lenny's buttons. "No smart remark," he teased Lenny. "I'm surprised. You find some way to disrupt this class every day, and now you don't have anything to say. What's wrong? Are you sick or something?" A few kids laughed quietly. Cassie shot me a panicked glance. I didn't do anything, Lenny muttered. You haven't done anything all semester, the teacher snapped back. I watched as a vein in Lenny's neck began to pulse. His eyes narrowed. He took a raspy breath and swung his legs out from under his desk. Cassie leaned forward in her seat. I tensed, trying to think of some way to stop the coming explosion. Lenny didn't move, but I saw him straining not to charge out of his seat. I knew he wanted to jump on the teacher and punch him out. I'm surprised you even bother with school, Mr. Crow murmured, shaking his head. He turned back to the board, searching the grill for another piece of chalk. The room remained silent. Lenny rose slowly. My whole body tingled. I wanted to say something, anything to calm Lenny down, but my voice stuck in my throat. Lenny knocked over the desk. It clattered hard on the wooden floor. Books and papers flew everywhere. I gasped. Glaring furiously at the teacher, Lenny took a step toward the front of the classroom. Mr. Crow turned from the blackboard to face him. Sit down, he ordered. I reached out my hand to grab Lenny's arm. Lenny, no, I whispered, but he angrily shook my hand off. He balled his hands into fists and moved slowly toward Mr. Crow. I slid out of my seat, tried to grab Lenny, hold him, pull him back. Too late. Lenny stepped up to Mr. Crow and raised his fist. Lenny, don't, I cried. Don't! Chapter 5. Lenny froze. He turned to me. I met his eyes. He took a shuddering breath and glanced down at his fists. His hands shook. Then he let out a short, angry cry, turned, and stomped out of the classroom. Mr. Crow stared at me. I lowered my eyes. I wondered if I should run after Lenny. Jordan picked up Lenny's desk. I gathered up his papers and books. As we cleaned, Mr. Crow returned to the chalkboard and his algebra equation, as though nothing had happened. I shook my head unhappily. It wasn't fair that Mr. Crow hated Lenny so much. He never gave Lenny a chance. Lenny needed to be more careful. The teacher could make things really bad for him. Last year, he got Lenny suspended from school twice. One more suspension, and Lenny would have to change schools. I warned Lenny that he should keep quiet and do his assignments. But Lenny doesn't listen. Not even to his good, sensible girlfriend. He doesn't exactly look for trouble, but it always seems to find him. Especially in Mr. Crow's class. I didn't even try to pay attention to the rest of the class. All I could think of was Lenny. When the bell finally rang, I ran from the room. I knew that Lenny would be waiting by my locker. I hurried through the crowded hallway and ran upstairs. No Lenny. I dialed the combination and opened my locker. No note from Lenny. Where was he? I turned to find Cassie leaning on the locker beside mine. Lenny needs to be careful, Diane, she said softly. Tell me something I don't know, I muttered, rolling my eyes. Mr. Crow has a heart condition, Cassie continued. I'm just afraid that one of these days, Lenny is going to give him a heart attack. Good, I replied. We both laughed. He practically gives me a heart attack every day, I joked. Cassie frowned. Are you still planning to sneak out after midnight tonight? She asked. Jordan thinks it's a really cool idea. I don't really want to, but if everyone else is doing it... I knelt down to search the bottom of my locker. I don't know what to do either, I confessed. If my parents caught me sneaking out after midnight, they'd kill me. Cassie nodded, biting her bottom lip thoughtfully. I slammed the locker shut and turned to her. I think I will sneak out tonight, I decided. At least I'll have a chance to talk to Lenny. Cassie nodded. Okay, I'll go too. It's nice seeing Spencer again, even though he's gotten a little weird. Yeah, let's go, I repeated, convincing myself. I mean, we're all just goofing, right? Having a little innocent fun. What could happen? Chapter 6. Cassie and I met outside Spencer's house after midnight. Did you have trouble sneaking out? I asked Cassie. She nodded. My parents stay up really late. I had to tiptoe downstairs and climb out the den window. I'm lucky, I replied. My parents are heavy sleepers. Nothing wakes them. They once slept through an earthquake. Cassie shivered and pulled her parka tight. It was a cold, raw night. The air felt more like winter than fall. Did you talk to Jordan and Lenny? I asked her. I tried calling Lenny all evening, but no one answered. I talked to Jordan, Cassie replied. He said he'd bring Lenny. We glanced up at Spencer's bedroom window. A dim orange light glimmered in the room, but I didn't see any sign of Spencer. A few seconds later, the tall evergreens beside the driveway shook. The brushing sound startled me. I turned, in time to see Jordan and Lenny come trotting up to us. White steam rose up from their mouths. Hey, Lenny muttered. Hey, Jordan echoed. How's it going, Diane? Lenny asked. I shrugged. Where'd you go after school? Just around, Lenny replied. I don't know. I was so steamed, I just drove around. Jordan slapped Lenny on the back. When you knocked over your desk, I thought Crow was going to jump out of his skin. Lenny didn't smile. You've got to cool it in that class, I warned Lenny. Maybe if you sit there like a statue, Crow will ignore you. No way, Lenny replied angrily. I'm not a good enough student for him to leave alone. Every chance he gets, he finds a way to get on my case. I never thought I could hate anyone as much as I hate that guy. A soft scraping sound interrupted us. I gazed up to see Spencer's window slide open. He waved at us, then quickly lowered himself down a rain gutter. I knew you guys would come, he exclaimed, grinning. Everyone needs some night games from time to time, right? Spencer had his hair tied back in a thick ponytail. He wore a black sweatshirt inside out, and black baggy chinos that were ripped at both knees. He turned to Lenny. How's it going? Lenny lowered his gaze to the ground. I've been better. Crow gave Lenny a hard time again in algebra, Jordan explained. Spencer shook his head. That jerk Crow, he muttered with surprising anger. He always gave me a hard time, too. I hate that guy. Let's not talk about it anymore, Cassie chimed in. I mean, what are we doing out here? It's so cold. Why are we doing this? Cheap thrills, Spencer replied without smiling. Let's go. He strode off so quickly the four of us had to jog to catch up. The air felt even colder. I pulled up the hood of my down jacket. Mist from the nearby river floated in and collected in the low spots near fences and hedges. The whole world appeared so still, so unreal, different, as if Shadyside were a different place late at night, some kind of fantasy place of silvers and grays and long black shadows. Something darted from under a bush and scampered across our path. I screamed. Cassie and Lenny laughed. A killer chipmunk, Cassie declared. More laughter, at my expense. Late at night, Shadyside is ours, Spencer proclaimed. Weird thought, I decided. The whole world belongs to us at night, Spencer added. Lenny snickered. Are you becoming some kind of poet or something? Spencer shook his head. No way, Lenny. I'll become a poet when you become a math teacher. We all laughed at that, even Lenny. I slid my arm around Lenny's waist and snuggled close to him as we made our way onto the next block. I had no idea where Spencer was leading us, until I saw the blaze of Christmas lights. Mr. Crowell's house. Hey, why did we come back here? Jordan demanded. A grin spread over Spencer's face, but he didn't reply. He locked his eyes on the front window of the house. Let's keep moving, Lenny suggested impatiently. I've had enough of this guy, really. Spencer turned his gaze on Lenny. Maybe we could have some fun with him, he said softly. Let's check Crowell out at home, see if he has any dirty secrets. Huh? You mean spy on him? I blurted out. I caught the worried expression on Cassie's face. Let's just take a look in there, Spencer replied. Peek in. See what Crowell does for laughs at night. But he'll see us, Cassie protested. This front yard is brighter than daylight. We'll be careful, Spencer told her, his eyes trained on the house. Come on, quick. He moved silently over the wet grass toward the house, stepping around lights and decorations. We followed him, then ducked down a round bush that grew in front of the living room window. If he looks out the window, he'll see us, Cassie warned. She shivered. A gust of cold air made me shiver too. What am I doing here? I asked myself. After midnight on a school night, crouched in front of a teacher's window? It's crazy, but kind of exciting, I admitted to myself. We raised our heads over the bush and peeked into the window. The lights were on, but turned down low. I could hear Christmas music playing. Against the back wall, I saw Mr. Crowell stringing silver garlands on a Christmas tree. He's working on his tree really late, I thought. Most teachers I know go to bed early because they have to get up so early. Squinting into the dimly lit room, I saw 4 open boxes on the couch. They were propped on their sides and full of ornaments. Nothing like rushing the season, Lenny muttered. What's with this guy anyway? He doesn't have any kids or a family or anything, Jordan added. He's doing all this Christmas stuff for himself. Weird, Lenny said under his breath. Shh, Cassie warned. He'll hear us. We watched Mr. Crowell trim his tree for another few minutes. Then he turned out the living room lamps to enjoy the sparkle of his decorations. He sat down in an armchair, drank from a can of soda, and stared at his creation with a satisfied expression. Boring, I declared. All he's doing is staring at his ugly tree. I turned to Spencer. This isn't much of an adventure. Yeah, let's go, Lenny agreed. I see enough of this creep during the day. I don't want to watch him at night, too. Lenny tugged me away from the bush. Cassie and Jordan followed us. We edged away from the window and started to make our way down the gravel driveway. I thought Spencer was right behind us, but a loud crash made me spin around. "Whoa!" I cried out when I saw Spencer swing his big flashlight. He smashed it into a cluster of twinkling red and green lights. The lights crackled as they broke. Spencer tugged out a section of lights by the wires. Then he stomped on the lighted Santa. The Santa cracked and toppled over. Spencer kicked it across the lawn. "Hey, stop it!" I screamed. "Spencer, what are you doing?" Jordan cried. Spencer ignored us. He pulled out more lights. Then he pulled an aluminum reindeer from the ground and heaved it toward the house. "Spencer, stop!" Cassie and I screamed. Spencer was like a wild man. He was swinging his flashlight, smashing lights, grunting with each swing, his eyes wild, his mouth open. "Let's get out of here!" I cried. Too late. The porch light flashed on. The front door opened, and Mr. Crowell stepped onto the stoop. "I see you," he screamed.